The first way is to start as a value proposition. And the best that I've seen is from Jill Conrath. And a value proposition is a clear statement to the customer, the person you're presenting to, that what are the tangible results that have a positive impact on your business, and what is the business value that we're bringing to the table. And a value proposition is a very simple thing to explain, maybe not as easy to do, but it includes a business driver. It impacts a business result in your company, whether it be operating costs, revenue, productivity. It has movement, and that is, are you reducing it, increasing it, or accelerating it? And the metric is, was it a dollar value? Is it over a time frame? Is it a percentage of increase? Or is it a combination of that? The analogy I use here also is a vice president of sales told me once that every time he talks to a salesperson and the salesperson is going out and making a customer call, they say, so if the CEO walks in 5 minutes into your presentation and said, tell me the 3 business drivers that you are going to explain to us as how it improves our business, what are they? What is that salesperson going to say? So hopefully today, what we will do if we do our job is, 1, explain why value propositions are important to your customers. And according to Forrester Research, and this is a powerful research study that they did, over 80%, or close to 90% of sales meetings that B2B executive buyers take clearly shows that the sales rep does not understand their business issues or articulate a way to solve them. Think about that. 9 out of 10 sales calls don't accomplish the objectives for the customer. Second, how quantifying or tangible communicating customer value early differentiates your sales messaging and increases your qualified sales pipeline. According to Sales Benchmark Institute, 6 out of 10 deals that are forecasted do not end up in decisions. That means you lose to no decision more than all other competitors combined. With only 100 sales days, business days left in the fiscal year 2015, that's a pretty scary thought to VPs of sales. The 6 out of 10 forecasted deals are not going to come in. They just don't know which 6 out of 10. And thinking if you could reduce that 60% to 55% or even 50%, and you have 10% more qualified deals, it surely will result in more business. And 3, and probably the most exciting part of this presentation is when Brian shows you an example SMART value proposition. And SMART meaning, back to the disruptive technology, the old approach, and the way I was brought up in sales, is you present with PowerPoints or with Excel spreadsheets with static collateral during and after the presentation. The new approach, which is being demanded by customers, is you enable sales teams to walk in with a web-based sales tool that stimulates collaborative conversations with decision makers. That CEO who says, get to the point, which is focused on their business priorities, and most important, that with 1 click or 2 clicks, that the sales rep can change the assumptions of the presentation to meet closer to what that CEO is looking for and show an ROI in real time. It's really exciting technology. Here's the Forrester presentation that I spoke to. Forrester gave very high grades of the respondents, the salespeople who walked in and gave a sales presentation, that they know their business and they know their products. They know their company and products extremely well. Where the customer was disappointed was it just took them a long time to get to the point, and basically 87% of the salespeople did not understand my meaning the business decision maker, my issues, and where they can help. And this is like really important because as salespeople, you clearly understand that probably the least amount of time that you spend is in front of the customer. So these 1 hour, 90-minute sales meetings are very, very critical. Now, when asked by Aberdeen Group, what can marketing do to help salespeople the most, it was very interesting. They based 52% said you can help us by differentiating our messaging and give us sales presentations to tell a better, unique story. translated means how do I differ myself in front of the client versus the competition and versus the way they're doing business today. Well, it's a real conundrum that faces salespeople each and every day. This is a typical salesperson, and I'm sure everybody on the call can appreciate this. This is a salesperson that probably has a very important sales call in the next 3 or 4 business days. And the salesperson wants to really do a good job. So they're looking for content. They're looking for collateral. They're looking for information through a variety of sources. And that salesperson really struggles with that and just starts putting things together. And the sales enablement content offerings do a really good job at putting these all in one place, but they really don't do a good job in putting it together in a presentation format or a presentation platform where the rep can present it in a very logical fashion. And we all know that up to 60%, according to CSO Insights, of a sales rep's time is burdened with other activities besides being in front of the customer or prospecting because they can't find the content or the resources they need fast. So, what are the characteristics of a B2B smart value proposition? Nothing you're going to see up here is going to be new news to people. It's web-based. By that I mean it's accessible 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, no matter where you are in the world. There's a repository. Now think about this for the sales VPs that are on the line. What if you could put up your top 20 winning value propositions that can be reviewed and updated, that are reviewed and updated by marketing and sales, that you know a sales rep can go in and give with a moment's notice. 3 is search. How do you find the content that you need that's not only that you can locate it, but it's ready to use without any changes by you? And the value propositions that you can search by any one of multiple criteria. And Brian will show you how to do that by product, by business segment, by competitor, however you want to search for it. Intuitive. Now, my definition of intuitive to a salesperson is somebody, and I'm one, that can figure out how to use this within 10 or 15 minutes of an online training resource. 5, it's professional. Everybody on the call is from a B2B enterprise company, and professionalism is very important when you're presenting to customers. Not handcrafted charts or cartoons or what have you, but they're professional-looking charts with the tangible business drivers that meet that industry's or that customer's needs, because executive decision makers are on there. Interactive. This is really important. B2B sales cycles are long. All right, multiple stakeholders. You get a lot of questions. And you shouldn't have to leave that and say, okay, at the next meeting, I'll make sure the right people are here to go over this. Or at the next meeting, we'll gather the information. You should be able to have an interactive conversation within 8 to 10 minutes of your sales meeting that talks about content, data, graphics. You can have video in there, and you should be able to change information and show a new ROI, put up customer testimonials, etc. Okay? But if I net this out to the 3 top comments that I hear from people using smart value propositions, and I'm thinking like a salesperson, it's these. I can now find in 5 minutes a relevant value proposition for my customer call that includes the right marketing collateral to back it up. And that is done through the cloud on a web-based application with a winning value proposition that they're ready to use instantaneously. 2, it looks good. This is an actual quote, is this unique value proposition looks professional to my customer. It differentiates me versus the competition and speaks directly to their business issues. And you'll see Brian demonstrate this very, very soon. And what I didn't put up here was the sales rep said, could you imagine my competitor walking in with a 25 or 30-page PowerPoint presentation of spreadsheets following me with this customer after I've shown this? And 3, that the customer can quickly engage, again, within 10 minutes of the conversation and ask the sales rep to make some very minor changes on the assumptions, and then you can start seeing the new results. It's very, very powerful, it's very unique, and it's very educational for the customer as well, and provide some excellent credibility. But the number one benefit when we talk to salespeople as a group is this really helps me qualify my customer quickly. If my customer can't give me the information, my customer is not engaging, I'm probably speaking with the wrong people. And this has done a great job at increasing my pipeline up to 10% with qualified sales opportunities. That when I present value propositions early on in the sales cycle, and it sets up a very high hurdle for my competition. And it obviously reduces that 60% the Sales Benchmark Institute is talking about. Now let's bring it down to factual numbers here. If you think about an example $50 million company or a $50 million division of an enterprise with 100 salespeople, the bell-shaped curve approach works with everybody. Where on the extreme right-hand side, you have the people having your strategic accounts, and on the left side are your new reps. In the middle are a bulk of your salespeople and your future superstars moving over to strategic accounts that have the most impact on your business. As an example, at the $50 million level, it probably looks something like this, where your strategic accounts, you have 10% of your people bringing in 25% of the business. Makes sense. Those are your biggest target accounts. And in the middle, you have 70% of your business, or 35 million, coming in from what we call the middle of the sales force, or your average bag-carrying salespeople. And it makes sense because you have the biggest accounts on the right, and they tend to get the most support from the organization. The reps in the middle probably don't get the level of support, and they need to bring the deal down further down the field before they can get support. And if you look at this and say, okay, let me think about if we can get 5% productivity improvement of everybody, how does that work? Well, it's not realistic. It probably won't happen. But if you think about where you could focus, by focusing in on the middle of the sales area, or the vast majority of salespeople, you could bring in a significantly larger amount of additional revenue of that, because that 50 million now turns to 52.5, and of the 52.5, 1.75 million additional revenue comes in to bring it to 36.75 for the middle of the curve. It's pretty powerful. But if you look at it this way, at a 5% productivity gain actually achieves a 3x increase in revenue at the middle of your sales force versus your top performers. The middle of the sales force by far is the one who uses the sales tools, uses the collateral, uses the resource a lot more than your strategic account reps who end up going in with teams of sales and support people to sell their opportunity. So 3 takeaways that I brought up at the beginning. Why value propositions are important to customers, and we covered. I've covered about half of this, which is how quantifying customer value early on differentiates your sales messaging. It helps you quantify the deals. And what Brian will do is to show you an actual smart value proposition and how simple and easy it is and how it gets the attention of your customer while setting up a competitive differentiation as well. And the last survey that I saw, which came out actually this week, is looking at this from the customer's perspective. And the two audiences that are really important here is the sales rep giving the presentation, and more important, the customer receiving the presentation. Is that 91% of the buyers surveyed prefer visual, interactive content rather than traditional formats. So what is this saying? This is saying that a lot of the static presentations that are being sent out today on PowerPoints and the inflexible spreadsheets that are being shown to customers right now are not satisfying the needs of the clients.